Welcome back. Well, yes, as you've seen, we're going to be discussing the fuel situation in the country, and we've joined by Billy Gillis-Harry, who is the National President, Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, who joins us virtually from Port Harcourt. We also will be joined by Chinedu Okoronkwo, who is the President of Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, from our studios in Abuja. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Let me start with you, Mr. Gillis-Harry. We go through this time and again, and many just can't fathom why we always have to do what they say, the same thing and expect a different result. Well, you are in this business, so could you break it down for Nigerians? Why are we going through this yet again?
Well, good morning, Chamberlain, and everybody of channel, and also good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to discuss this very troubling issue. Well, we are back again to the same kind of circus: fuel scarcity, the reasons, the difficulties. I think that there should be a day and a time when, as Nigerians, we should set a timetable to stop this. The simple truth is that supply is not efficient and supply is not adequate. You can hear my colleagues who are addressing the same issue, that the cost of running our retail outlets today is completely unfriendly, to our banking and financial businesses. And the supply for this particular PMS, and even diesel, by the way, is not efficiently put to ensure that prices and product is available. So that's simply the situation. And this is why we keep going back to the point that deregulation will be the answer. If a full deregulation is pronounced and it is clearly defined that these are the terms and the rules of engagement in deregulating the sector, I think we should stop. We should not see this kind of queues or this kind of challenges.
So why is supply suddenly a problem?
Well, supply has always been a problem when these kind of situations come, because as retail outlet owners, our focus will be to deliver to the buying public what we get from our NNPC partners and the PPMC there. And if there is not adequate supply from this particular, arm of the trading, chain of petroleum products, there's no way we can sell, because we are not importing. We want to import. Yes, we want to import. At the moment, and we want to run the refineries.
So at the moment, NNPC and PPMC should be answering the question as to why there isn't that supply coming to yourself and your members.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing.
Because the thinking has been that, well, it's not essentially because of supply. It's because there's unfavorable business conditions. So you can't sell at the expected 165 naira, because when you add on the other costs, it comes to about 180. So the thinking has essentially been, this is primarily with the retailers saying, business is not good for us. You're shortchanging us. So let's renegotiate this, essentially, not from the supply side.
Well, that is very correct. A couple of days ago, we were discussing this on the roundtable, and we looked at our operating costs: cost of diesel, cost of running our retail outlets, cost of logistics to take products from the depots to our retail outlets. It's not a very easy thing to do, and I still stay within the limits of 165 naira. When you're already landing at about 180, 183 naira per liter. So that is the situation across the whole country. And that is if you are even in the city. If you are delivering to Arochukwu, or you are delivering to my village, or you are delivering to some riverine area, the cost is even much more. And so the issue of talking about selling 165, which is the regulatory price, does not even occur anymore. We have to really get back to the drawing table, and all stakeholders must be sitting down to discuss and get answers to this problem so that Nigeria don't get into difficulty. Look, Chamberlain, this morning you can't get to work if the retail outlets are not functioning. You heard the IPMAN chairman in Lagos saying that they are not on strike. It's simply that things are difficult for them to run businesses efficiently. Now, that is the same situation everywhere in the country. But with all the associations and their members running businesses at loss, you cannot be selling product that you landed at 183 to at 165. Who is going to pay for the cost to the bank? None of us is having money to be able to buy product by ourselves. We're always dependent on one bank facility or the other. So it's very important that
but Mr. Harry,
everybody sits down, yes.
When you keep talking about cost, this product is supposed to be subsidized. What's happening to subsidy?
Well, the reality is that the subsidy conversation is a matter of another day. I'm sure you must have heard me on a number of times, not to repeat myself, to say that subsidy should not be what we should look at. We should look at subsidizing transportation, medical facilities, education, infrastructural development, and allow business of petroleum product retailing and services to the vagaries of the economics of demand and supply. There's no way you can tell us today that the subsidy regime is now going to come up with the values that will stop this kind of petroleum product, chain queues that are already building up across the whole country. Abuja has been there for quite a long time. Lagos is there now. And of course, before you say Jack, other areas will be there today. Port Harcourt is in a good condition.
Mr. Harry, please, so many questions, rushing through my mind now. But first and foremost, are you saying that the current subsidy regime is inadequate to cater to the needs of your running costs and, your working conditions?
Well, as a retail outlet owner, I am not getting any bills settled by by the subsidy. So it's as straightforward as that. If the retail outlet owner is getting values, for the subsidy, it should impact very positively in our operating costs. And we should not be talking about the cost of running our generators of diesel. We can be talking about running costs, a logistic cost that is, skyrocketing every day, and so on. So they're, not wanting to give, very poor reasons why government decided to get back to the subsidy regime. I, as a representative of the retail outlet owners in this country, will insist that subsidy should be applied somewhere else, not in petroleum. And because actually we need to ask everybody what is the impact of retail subsidy in your petroleum product consumption pattern, whether it's in diesel or it's in petrol. And right now, don't forget that the trillions of naira are only focused on just PMS. And today we are still talking about queues of PMS. So what's wrong? What's going on? We should ask questions and we should get answers to.
You also talk about supply. You say you're not importers and that the supply is not coming. Is it the problem of supply alone, or the working conditions are no longer favorable such that your running cost is increasing? Please clarify that. Is supply available and the problem is that the working conditions are no longer favorable, or supply is not coming at all? The NNPC has no stock.
Well, supply is coming, but it's not in the size that it should be anticipated. You have thousands and thousands of retail outlets in this country. And then at least minimal, every other day, one retail outlet should have at least 30,000 liters of petroleum PMS supplied there. If that is not the case today, then you will certainly know that supply is not efficient. So we need to improve that. NNPC needs to improve their supply, deficiency. They need to get to the table. They need to get every one of us involved in this solution. You see, you cannot be a judge and a complainer in your own case. We as the last mile in the petroleum product distribution chain know the pain and the impact of when a market woman who is trying to ship farm materials or farm goods, to the market, and she cannot get a product to move her trucks because the bus is stuck in the retail outlet waiting online for 6 days to get fuel. We know what it is because she does not know PPMC, she does not know NNPC, she just knows that station. And then we are the ones taking the brunt. We are the ones that will be abused. We are the ones that will be, harassed. And at the end of the day, we are not the reason why we are barely making just minimal, income to stay afloat. And even that has been taken away from us. Right now, we are now trading on a deficit. So that is one. But the fact that the supply itself is not efficient is the major issue. Because once they are supply, our job is to take the product from where the supply is from the depots and deliver so that Nigerians can be able to move around, do business. Every day, the retail outlets' economic value is coming out because that is where the movement, the energy, the gravitas to push our economy starts from every day. You must get to the retail outlet, get petrol to move to your studio, to move to your office in the villa, to move to even the NNPC, tower. That is how important the retail outlet is. And we need to be able to make sure that these retail outlets are properly taken care of by supply. And that's what we are trying to insist. That's why we look at this scenario and say, look, listen, we have almost 40-something thousand retail outlets across the country. These people can come together and import petroleum products to augment what NNPC is doing. And that will help the country. That will help our industry. So there are two issues. One, the operating environment is hostile to us. The money calculations is not favorable to the business. The supply process itself is not favorable to us. And that is that's where we are.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Okoronkwo then if the story of Ipman is very different from that of Petran. Are your people involved at all in the supply side of things, or you're strictly also in retail?
Thank you for having me. I think we need to let the world know actually where this problem is coming from. Mm-hmm. Remember, the 4 trillion subsidy is still there. That is to say, government have done their own part. NNPC is the one importing this product and giving to tank farm owners. Of course, some of our members go there when we don't have enough to get from all these interland depots. Because
your members don't own tanks. They don't own. They're not tank farm owners.
Basically, some of our members, but the percentage is so minor.
Very small.
So, because of the vandalization thing, it's easier for NNPC to now call these tank farm owners to have this product in their tank farm. Now, there is this template of government wherein everything is there. A situation where we are supposed to get this product at 148 naira.17 kobo. Now we are getting it at 160 naira plus transport. It will land in your station 170. Remember, when this product was at the level of maybe 3 million naira, we still make 10 naira. Now it's close to 6 to 7 million naira. We are still making 10 naira. Most of our members are no more in business. What do we do at this point in time? The regulatory agency, before we have DPR, PEF, and PPPRA, they normally move out. I think this is the time. Remember, we have energy crisis globally, occasion from Russia and the Ukraine war. So this is the time everybody must work hard. If we are getting this product at this template of 148 naira, there is nothing for us to, begin to profiteer. It's not. Some of our members are not even in business. That is why you heard the chairman of Ejibo Debo, my chairman there, telling the public what is going on. Some have just stopped business because how do you pay loans you have collected? How do you service this? It's very hard. The regulatory agencies have to go to these private depots. And because this product is still subsidized, so that everybody will play its own role. Not giving us bad name, we are putting this. We are not doing that.
Yeah, but we understand that. Was it just last week or so, the president, because we know that here in Abuja, the scarcity never left. It's been going and coming, and I think for the last 2-3 weeks now, we've more or less been living with it. Yes. So there have been questions as to what the matter was, and then it would seem that maybe there was questions around transport. The president approved 10 naira extra for transporters. Did that have any effect whatsoever on supply?
Well, it will go a long way. But if the cost of getting this product is not addressed at the depot point, we'll still be falling, back and forth, which is not proper. The price is fixed. This one that is still under subsidy. But when we can't get it, we are getting it at the depot point at 162 naira, another 8 naira. It will land. Then you begin to say with that same 10 naira. I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Have you been able to speak with any member, any authority figure to find out? I mean, because right now we've been told that the new, I'm trying to remember the name of this act now that is in place now.
Okay, PIB Act.
The PIB is now, the PI Act,
okay, PI Act
is now in force.
Yes.
And so you have a number of regulators who are responsible for this. There's a whole agency supposed to be responsible for downstream, and there's one for upstream, etc. Yeah. So I do not know if this new agencies have kicked in, or whether it's still the same DPR that's supervising as we used to have before. But there are questions as to what are the authorities saying about this? Because I'm sure that they must have been, if they were supervising what was going on from the depots, they ought to be aware and be able to say this is what is happening or this is not what is happening.
Good. That is why we are now asking them, please, even your organization, the media, can also come to depot and know what we are buying.
Yeah, but have you been able to ask them in private? You are the president of IPMAN.
Yes.
I mean, you should be able to stand on certain leverage to ask certain questions.
Yeah, last 2 weeks we met with them, the MD of PPMC, and we extract everything. And we have also suggested that some of these, PMS in some of these private depots, we can designate maybe each of the zone. We have 5 zones within their own system, an NPC system. They can now designate one depot. Maybe those from Northwest, see where you go and load. Those from Eastern Zone, see a depot. Those from, then they have the organigram. That way, it will reduce this private depot operation, making marketers. So he assured us that they are working on something, and pretty soon they will, see how they can come up.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Obviously, nothing has come out of that.
We're still on the dry. We need to get a tank farm. Those who will really give us. So we are calling some of our members who have really built this tank farm, see how we can work with them and have our product, in those warehouses, in those tank farms. It will stop this problem. Yes.
But I think at the bottom of this is price. I mean, you've talked about an energy
the price. An NPC gives their own price to private depot owners. Maybe they will go and pick from the,
from the ship, from the mothership and daughtership.
And they put all their costs. I think that is where they are also quarreling, because cost of doing business now have really gone up. But if we are now under this regime of subsidy, that regulatory agency must also see how they will work. So everybody will remain on 165 naira. That, I think, is proper. 4 trillion is not a small money, and it could still go around if properly managed.
4 trillion naira is not exactly. In fact, it's a lot of money. In our current Nigerian situation, and a number of people are wondering how can a country be spending as much as 4 trillion naira on subsidy yet
for 18 months.
Yet there is fuel scarcity.
And that is, I've given you an idea what can solve that problem. By the time marketers begin to receive this product directly from NNPC, designated depots, there won't be any problem again.
There has been talk around the regulation. You know, one minute NNPC will say, oh, there's no more, we're no longer paying subsidy. The next minute they've changed their mind. It's been back and forth, back and forth. Assuming they were to take away this subsidy and say, you know what, let everybody be able to pay so that the product can be available in the market and there can be some competition which could most likely drive prices down. At what rate do you think that petrol will sell?
For now?
For now, yes.
You can use diesel as a means of calculating. Everything is high up there. But the only thing I think that will happen to this country, by the time we begin to refine this product locally here, it will go a long way. At least we would have cut off the carrying the crude out and bringing it back. That transportation gap will go a long way in reducing some of these price, escalations. I think from what they also told us that Port Harcourt Refinery, they are really working on it. Maybe you people will take a walk and know what is actually happening. They said it will come up, the next before September, October. And if that comes up, it will reduce some of this pressure. Like Dangote too, I don't know when it's coming up. If some of these things will begin to work, we have this crude here, and I think government effort now should be channeled into making these refineries work.
But in the meantime, what are some of the immediate measures, apart from designating different depots to different transporters for different regions to go and pick up their products? Are we sure that the depots themselves even have the products? Because from what we're hearing now...
People are buying 162, which means the product is there. So I think they have put in all their costs. They have built it into the price. But government can also call them. All these things are priced in dollar. Vessel, hiring of vessel, some of the charges, NAMISA and everything is in dollar. But government can also call them and see how they ameliorate it by having something so that we can still have this subsidy that is still there for now.
I'm just wondering how this is going to work. I mean, because if you're talking about waiting till September when the Port Harcourt refinery...
I'm not saying. What I'm saying now is that these operators may be tank farm owners, and because of their costs, they might be putting out these things. But government can quickly call them today or tomorrow and say, please, let's see how we can reduce your costs. Those who are paying in...
That is an immediate.
Yes, immediate. Those who are paying in dollar, they can take naira from them. Some of these things they pay in dollar. And dollar keep getting up every day. So we're looking at those low-hanging fruits, what we can do immediately to bring circle. I've given you one, designating tank farms for marketers. Then government they have done one by adding some transportation, to reduce the cost of transportation. It's only for those who are bridging. But those are the point of getting this product is still nothing has done. But I think if we get this product at that NNPC price, there won't be need for people to sell above 165 naira.
As far, anyway, let's come back and we'll talk about that, because NNPC says that it's still, from what we know, it's still the sole importer of petroleum products into the country. Yes. And they always talk about how they have at least a month's stock. Sometimes they say at least 2 to 3 months stock, you know. So there'll be questions that if NNPC is the one that owns the petrol in those or petroleum products in those tank farms, you know,
I told you earlier, some of them will be given paper to go and load from the coastal, from the tank.
Yes.
They will be at the cost of bringing this product.
Okay.
You know, and you know that...
And keeping the product as well.
They're keeping it and also selling to members. By the time they calculate their costs, it will... That is why I said government can now call them and see how they interface them so that things will still go down.
Okay, we'll take a break at this point. We'll be back shortly to discuss further on what long-term solutions are possible. Please stay with us.
Welcome back, Mr. Billy Gillis-Harry. Let's ask you, because talking about solutions now, because there are so many things going on, both for diesel, petrol. Some think that, look, the refineries that we have, why don't we just call whoever, whether it's your members, IPMAN, IOCs, and tell them, look, run these refineries, have a certain agreement, let the crude be refined here, fix the refineries, and then we'll sort this challenge out. Well, will that work? What do you think the solutions can be?
Yeah, I think that will work. Thank you, Chamberlain, for getting back to us. I think that will work. Government, being in business as usual, always has its own downsides. As practical business people, all the associations, major marketers, the depot marketers, independent marketers, retail outlet owners, NNPC retail, and every gas association can come together and make our refineries to work. Because at the end of the day, what is being refined is refined for us. And that is where we think we should look for our solution. Because when you have invested billions of US dollars in refining capacity and improving our refineries, we should be able to see that effect immediately. And we are talking about a process that has gone on for over 1 year. But I believe that if private sector is working and looking for how to bring in funds and technology into play, we certainly would have gone faster than this. So, because as usual, that is how it functions.
That will be on a long-term basis. But in the meantime, on the short term, I mean, NNPC, we're hoping to hear from them soon. They have a lot of explanation to do, since both of you talk about supply of this product, which is not being received and certain circumstances not being met. So they should be talking to Nigerians about what is going on. But on the short term, because people need to attend to their daily needs, you know how this society works, what can be done to solve this?
Well, I think the same solutions that has been earlier proffered, we as a very credible, patriotic Nigerian association and the most critical in the value chain of petroleum product distribution, we have also advanced the same kind of advice, where we can designate very strategic depots that can serve the teeming members of retail outlet owners across the country and ensure that these products, when they come, the associations are part of the process in ensuring that distribution is efficient. So that way, private depot owners do not, go way beyond, because the product is still deregulated. When you peg the price at 165, it clearly shows that it is deregulated. And it's regulated. So it's very important that that issue be addressed. Right. If we have about 3 depots in Port Harcourt, another 3 in Ogara, another 3 in Calabar, another 3 or 5 in Lagos, serving both the coastal areas and the non-coastal areas, we should be able to deliver petroleum product across the whole country efficiently. That is exactly what should be done right now.
But what is the arrangement as of today with the depots? Can you walk us through?
Well, the arrangement as it is today is that we apply to PPMC to give us allocation. That allocation is approved. We make payments. Then we wait for this allocation that have been given to us, that have been paid for, to be programmed by the PPMC for us now to go into the depot with our facilities and load. Most of these product that is loaded do not benefit from this new price review, for tankers that are going to be paid, upwards of about 10 naira or so. Most of these tankers will be serving just within the city. They are not bridged. So if they are not bridged, they do not have any of this price differential that is being proposed. So again, that does not help us because product is product. If you move product from Port Harcourt Refinery to Harristown or to Umuahia or to Nekede, the cost is heavy. So if we are going to, provide bridging this product, it should be all over the place. But right now, the immediate solution for this is let supply be beefed up by NNPC. And let us, as retail outlet owners, have ease of doing business so that we can pay and be sure that as you're paying, you're being programmed to load.
When you talk about bridging this cost, but before we had the Petroleum Equalization Fund, is that not supposed to bridge this cost? So why didn't it work at the time?
Well, the bridging cost as it is, first of all, some of these laws were made at the time that the entire country is not put in the map. So at some point, bridging is impacted in some areas and it's not impacted in some areas. You have riverine filling stations. You have stations that are in the hinterland. Some of these were not put in the program for bridging. So, for instance, if you load up petroleum product from Port Harcourt, and then you are going to take it into Edo, Harristown, Buguma, all those areas that you have to cross the river, it should be equalized also. Now, that equalization today, equalization agency is submerged into the midstream and downstream regulatory authority. So, of course, it's still there, and the function is there. That is why today the proposal to increase payment to transporters have been made, and it's already holding. But we are now saying as retail outlet owners that we still suffer if we have to take product from one particular area to the other area, to some areas that are not put on the map.
So just to better explain to Nigerians, I mean, as you said, all they know is they go to the filling stations and there's no petrol. They don't understand this whole chain where you go to get from it. As of today, where do you lift from? What depots do retailers lift from?
We load from all the 5 business depots of NNPC. NNPC, as you know, operates the eastern area, which is Port Harcourt. That's a refinery, but we also have a depot in Aba and also in Makurdi and Enugu. So they load from there to the retail outlets.
So as of today, there are states, there are filling stations across the country that are not experiencing this. They're selling for 165 naira. Am I right?
Well, the only reason, for instance, in Port Harcourt, where I am today now, product is being sold at 165 naira. That's because some of them had products prior to now. And because of sales not being as fast as it should be, they had products which they have in their stations that they are selling now. Once that stock is depleted, we will get back to the same situation.
Well, truth is this, as a business person, once you see that the price of what you want to lift, the next set that you want to lift has gone up, you naturally increase the price of what you're selling now, because the thinking is you still have to take all that money to buy for the next supply. So I expect that naturally they should have increased it. But Port Harcourt, on the one hand, we have other parts of the country in the north, perhaps, or in other parts that are not going through this. Am I right?
Well, when product is in Port Harcourt, don't forget that Port Harcourt is also supplying to many other states in the country. So we have trucks that are loading out of Port Harcourt to Kaduna, to Abuja, to Lokoja, to Katsina, to Maiduguri from Port Harcourt. So now you can see. What did you say?
Pardon me. My point is that they are not going through this. I mean, we don't see the scarcity we're seeing in Lagos, in Abuja, for example, some southwest states, in other parts. So the question will be naturally, what are they doing differently, or what is different with them? I'll come to my next question, but please speak to that.
Well, I mean, as simple as it can be explained, once there is product, you know, in the retail outlet owners will enforce their staff to sell at 165. There is no retail outlet that will have product that will close its outlet. But if the product is purchased in the way that we have been told earlier, you know, that the cost, you know, gets inflated across the process, and even in Port Harcourt, for instance, product is landed at the retail outlet at 172 naira or 175 naira. There's no way they can sell less than, you know, 180 something, which is now going to run foul of the law. And we try as much as we can to encourage our members not to do anything that will fall, make them to run foul of the law.
Well, Mr. Gillis Harry,
the answer to that is simply there's product in the retail outlet. That's why they are selling. Once that product is depleted, we'll get back to the same situation.
Again, as a business person, I think that's quite interesting because you need to have enough money to stock up again. So naturally, they should increase so they can have money to stock up. But I'm not in this business. But I need you to respond to this because...
let me answer that. Yes, as a businessman, I'm supposed to restock. Where am I going to restock? Okay. I'm going to restock only from the depots that NNPC apportions for me to buy.
And that takes me to my next question.
Depot or the private depot.
And that takes me to my next question. You said it's illegal to sell above 165 naira, but here in Lagos, you see people actually begging to buy for 180. Filling stations selling for as much as that. The usual, even taking 500 naira if you come with a jerry can and all of that. So much illegalities, as is why, is going on. So clearly, people are breaking the law as I speak to you right now.
Well, again, it boils back to the same situation. If there is supply, every retail outlet within the range of 400 meters will have PMS in their stations. And if there is PMS in station 1, station 2, station 3, users have an option to go to every retail outlet and buy. So no retail outlet will then sell above 165. But in a situation where only one retail outlet is having product across 3 or 5 kilometers of road, of course, the scenario of any practice will come, and that's only because this particular retailer must have gone through quite a lot of process to buy that product to now sell in their retail outlets. So that is the situation.
And it's a sad one because, it takes its toll on Nigerians. But my concern is about long-term solutions. And I'm coming to you, Mr. Okoronkwo. Would full deregulation of the downstream sector also include allowing marketers to import instead of this situation where the NNPC is the sole importer of petroleum products? And I'd like you to walk us through what that would look like if major marketers were allowed to import petrol. Would it address this situation? Would it ease it? Mr. Okoronkwo, the question is for you. Mr. Okoronkwo, can you hear me?
Let me tell you, we are major stakeholders in this business. For a board of downstream and upstream to be constituted without members of IPMAN or major marketers, that is the beginning of their problem, because we need to be there to work out things with them. Before the collapse of all this, we were part of PEF, part of PPPRA. But this new regulatory body now, none of we're not there. So how do you plan with these people? Before we can plan, we can do what we call surveillance, know what is going on everywhere. we know our members, no matter where they are. If you are giving product maybe to somebody who is in Kara Namoda, we can even monitor it. We have that system, that data. But when we are sidelined and we are not there, little or nothing we can know. They will tell you, look, you people are not in this board. You were in this board before. But I think that is where to start. In our presentation at it was PIB then, now it's PIA. Our position is very simple. Due regulation is the only way out, where government will have little or nothing to do in this business. Government in business, the delay, the hiccups is something you cannot imagine. But let us talk with this 4 trillion, that is to say this subsidy. Let us fixate ourselves and our discussion on it. We must make it work. If the money finishes, we'll also see it. We know that things are happening. Product is going up every day. This little time that we have to manage, this subsidy regime, everybody must be involved. We should know what is going on. I have said earlier, this petroleum product, for it to go around, we must, in all those depots, be part. We have our depot chairman, we have our zonal chairman. Let them know what is going to anywhere. It is that critical right now. We must follow it. We are talking about solution.
So I think that apart from, the major, the inner workings of what is happening behind the scenes, because to the customers, Mr. Gillis Harris has pointed out, to the customer, what they know. I mean, we don't know what your relations is with PPMC, DPR, if they're still in existence, or all the other government agencies or NNPC. What we know is that we go to the fuel station to buy fuel, and when we don't get to buy, then we're worried.
Yes.
It means that your stress levels are going to go up, and then if you're not able to buy in a jerry can, it's even more problems because you're wondering how you're going to fill your generator tank, especially in places where electricity supply have been really poor.
Very bad.
So these are the kinds of things that stress everyday, ordinary Nigerians.
That's correct.
Is there anything that IPMAN and Petron too can commit to ensuring that stress levels at filling stations, for instance, when there is disorderliness, when there are multiple queues, when there is a refusal to sell in jerry cans for those who need to go and put in their petrol generators, is there anything that IPMAN can do to ease the stress for everyday Nigerians?
Yeah, very good question. We can do a lot if we're involved in the planning and programming. When you are not involved, you don't know what is left. How do you plan? And you can only plan with what you have. Before, when these bodies...
What do you mean you don't know what is left? So you don't know what is left?
In the tank farms and everything.
Yes, but you know what is left in your own...
We sell.
That's what I'm saying. Is the manner in which you sell.
How?
So
will you hold your product when you...
No. What I'm saying is oftentimes it would seem that those who are at the filling stations are not bothered about how they are selling. So people can form as many as 5 different queues. People can come in through one gate and go in through another, and it will seem that there is no order. And oftentimes there's no attention paid to that.
That one should be left for those buyers. If they put themselves in a straight line, we'll dispense. Nobody is going to drink this. What every businessman does.
You don't think that a businessman bears the responsibility to also ensure that people who are coming in are orderly?
Look at the case of what happened in one of the stations here, where there was this altercation between the army and those. It happened that I was even reading last night that that guy was shot and they took him to hospital. We don't know what has happened now. It is that bad. But
you know why you say so? I mean, why I asked this question.
Yes.
You just said something about you don't know what is left. You're not involved in the planning.
I mean, in getting from the source.
That's what I'm saying. It's also the same thing.
No, here, you don't hold it.
That's what I'm saying. You don't hold it.
Yes.
But the customers who are queuing at your gate, they don't know what is left either. So you find out that they too, they are in a hurry.
Desperation,
yes. Exactly. There's a lot of desperation to see how they can also beat others on the queue.
Good.
To see, you know, before the filling station shuts off and say, oh, we're not selling again.
Please, we should also see marketers as helping this country.
What I'm asking is whether marketers can help.
Those people who are on queue, can they arrange themselves and follow the line?
I'm sure they can.
Good.
If there is some instruction from those who...
A lot of people are in a hurry in this country, you know that, and they know it. You know, that was why in those days we had what they call war against indiscipline. War. It's no more now. Where on your own you just stand on the line and wait for your turn. Everybody must be involved in that. It's not marketers. You can come and give.
I know.
Give
because
order, but they will survive that order.
We know this is the current situation. We know this is what is happening right now. But this is what this disorderliness, this chaos, is really what stresses. I mean, if people know that if I queue at a filling station in 1 hour or 2 hours, I'll get to buy, especially if the queue is moving and it's orderly, people might not really mind as much. But where there is total chaos, there's a breakdown or sometimes of law and order, you don't know when you're going to buy, what happens is that people distrust the system even more. So is it possible, I'm just asking, is it possible for marketers to know when there is fuel scarcity? Maybe they will get the Corporation of Security Agencies.
That is what we are doing right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are doing that right now. But you know, Nigeria, everybody is always in a hurry. The police, go to every station within even this Abuja, you see police there now. It's there. But in a bid to beat that ordinance, they will begin to do, you know, and
they'll begin to do what, sir?
They will begin to shunt, you know, see how they can, you know, maneuver their way. And in the process, there will be this chaos we are talking about. But I think police, it is also necessary they get involved in it. Civil defense, all these military agents, they can come. This is a time where everybody must be involved in making sure that people don't suffer much. When you put your product in your filling station, you expect to sell off and bring another one. And if this noise is there, you can't even sell. So for us, we also suffer. The solution of every station must, you know, require police, civil defense, or even the army. For now, I think that is the way to go.
Now, I just want to quickly ask you about generators. Is there an instruction asking people not to sell in jerry cans? Yes,
there is. You know, some of them, that is why you can even see some of these people doing brisk business now. The whole idea is to ensure that people with car should have this product. But I think jerry can, maybe 10 liter or even 5 liter could be allowed so that people can also use it in their house. There is nothing bad in it. I think we'll take up that with the authorities. Thank you.
Mr. Gillis Harry, let's get your response on that first, because you know that a lot of people need fuel for basic things. But what is the directive? Did that directive come from who? The ministry, or is it not the fuel retailers themselves who made that law that they will not dispense in jerry cans? Because what we see, even as that rule or whatever it is subsists, for folks who still sell with black market, they go with the same generator. They remove some funny things don't happen there. So they still go through the same process which you're trying to eradicate, and it's still happening. So what's going on with that?
Well, first of all, you know, buying in jerry cans is not illegal, but because of the abuse the regulatory authorities try to put a nip on it. And we, as retail outlet owners, enforce that through our staff at the retail outlets. It's very simple to know who is actually buying petrol to use for their hair salons or their homes to pump water or whatever. So I think that is something that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because we don't know, we cannot tell on the face of the person who brought jerry cans, it becomes difficult. As you know, right on the footage you showed, you can see, young men and women running along with jerry cans, trying to offer 5 liters, 10 liters, 20 liters, 25 liters to motorists. So those are some of the things that we try to avoid at the retail outlets by not selling to jerry cans. But there should be a way, and again, every time there's a problem, some permanent solutions should be sought to it.
Speaking of which, Mr. Harris, if you do not sell to those who bring jerry cans to the petrol stations, the purpose of trying to separate the grain from the chaff has been defeated, because some marketers sell to those who, sell as black market under the cover of darkness at night, and then we find them back again on the road selling to motorists on the highways. So is there a mechanism that can be used to regulate the process, such that people who require fuel for genuine purposes are not excluded?
That's what I was trying to address. The last time, I think around early part of the year when the scarcity came up, Petron members devised a method by which we could ask 1 or 2 questions. But of course, the process is long. And if you are selling jerry cans in, say, 20, 25 liters, for every 10 jerry cans that has gone by, that is about 250 liters, which is enough to fill up some 2 or 3 vehicles that are running commercial vehicles. So they need to be careful with that, must be looked into. But like I said, when problem comes, it also prompts us as, practitioners in the business to also come up with creative solutions. So, of course, this is something that we need to get back to the downstream regulatory authorities to be able to discuss. And also the weight and measures, that's also tried to enforce that from the Federal Ministry of Trade. So somehow I think we should be able to come up with a solution where those who genuinely buy fuel for their hair salons, their water pumps, and genuinely should have some method by which they should be able to identify themselves. And I can assure you that in my capacity as president of the retail outlet owners, we certainly will look forward to making some moves even before the close of this week to make sure that the authorities agree with us on some methodology with which we can be able to work. And I believe both the independent marketers, major marketers, and that man who also owns retail outlets will also see how this works together with the solution we are going to profile.
Well, I look forward to seeing how that will work, because I don't know if you ask them to bring their ID cards or maybe use a lie detector to be sure. Are you using it for business, or you want to use it for black market?
I don't think. Let me not discuss that on the
Okay, I know that's just by the way. No, really, that's just by the way. But let's talk about this. Just be clear, really. Are you saying that as of today, there's actually petrol at the retailers, at the filling stations, your members' point of sale, but they're not selling because it's not, it doesn't make business sense for them to sell at a lower price?
Well, certainly not members that have the Petron membership stickers on their retail outlets. Any station that have Petron membership stickers on their station are duty bound to sell what they have. We are committed to the public.
At what price?
We have to be sincere about this. In Port Harcourt today, some stations can sell 165. In Aba, some stations can sell at 175. In Owerri, some stations can sell even at 180 because they find it very difficult to access the product. Now, will it be better for us as retail outlet owners to make sure we struggle one way or the other to get the product in the retail outlets in a strategic location for the public to have access to and use to drive the economy.
So essentially,
yeah, we certainly will want to serve the public. So our process will be to make sure that we get the system to collaborate with us and give us the best answers.
Okay, so essentially they can sell at 180 as far as they have, and people.
Yeah, they can. So long if you have a petrol sticker on your list, and you can go around and check. Any station that has a petrol stickers in their station and they have products and they don't sell, they'll be sanctioned.
I wonder how we look out for those stickers.
We do not pay lip service to that.
Okay, just to be clear, pardon me, Bukola. Who's then getting the subsidy? If you can do that in less than a minute, because clearly Petron is not getting subsidy. So who's getting this 4 trillion naira subsidy?
Well, if you ask me, I will answer it very honestly and truthfully. Who is importing the petroleum product? It's who is importing the petroleum product that is also getting the subsidy payment. And if the subsidy should be passed on down to the value chain up to the user, then we should be able to see the positive impact on it. So, but right now, I don't have a bill that I'm posting to NNPC or PPMC to pay the subsidy. And certainly you that is buying product from me, also you're having the same problem. So we cannot tell right now who is actually being paid subsidy, except if the importer has a way of getting the subsidy. That's the reality.
Morning. Mr. Billy Gillis Harry, who is the national president of Petron, that's the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Association of Nigeria, and also Mr. Chinedu Okoronkwo. Thank you so much. He is the president of the Independent Marketers Association of Nigeria. Gentlemen, thank you for your time this morning, and we hope that you help us maintain some order and help ensure that Nigerians are able to get what little you're able to get at your stations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, we'll take a break at this point, and we'll be turning our attention to Ekiti. It's still a review of what transpired, but this time from the perspective of the umpire. Please stay with us.